Mic'd up.
From Lowlifes. Highlights from Lowlifes.
Hey everyone, welcome to Highlights from Lowlifes. We're back here at the Stockton Ports game. Tonight they are playing the Modesto Nuts. The Ports are off to a pretty good start, and we are in one of the suites on the first base side watching the pregame activity. Tonight we have another group to discuss a fun topic. We're going to talk about everybody's favorite minor league baseball stories growing up. Many of us grew up in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and we have fond memories of going to minor league games. And minor league games, the entertainment is really good because they have to try harder. They got to draw fans in, and so there's lots of games and prizes and fun things that you wouldn't see at a major league game. So tonight, the Lowlifes are going to tell their favorite stories about that just prior to the Ports game. Again, the Lowlifes, we are a group of San Francisco Bay Area senior baseball players. We got together during the pandemic on Zoom calls to keep each other's mental health up, and those evolved into top 5 discussions. We met the folks at Mic'd Up. Thank you, Mic'd Up. And we are doing episode 86 tonight. So 86 episodes.
What should happen to us.
Yeah. Throughout that all, we've had our sponsor, Almanac Beer, supplying us with our favorite beverages, which we are all drinking tonight. All right, let me start things off with a story of minor league baseball in my youth. I grew up, for the most part, in the San Jose area of California, where the San Jose Giants are located. They're a single-A team. They've been called different things through the years, the Bees, the Missions, and so forth. But my dad took me to a game one night, and we had to go early. And I asked why we were going so early, and he says, well, there's a special pregame show. Eddie Feiner from the King and His Court. The King and His Court were in town. If you don't know about them, they are a group of 4 softball players. You get a pitcher, a catcher, a first baseman, and a guy that roves the outfield and the rest of the infield. Feiner is a famous pitcher, underhand softball pitcher, who could strike out many a major league ball player. And during these tours across the country, he would take on the best softball teams in that area. So the best softball players in all of San Jose were out that night to see if they could get a hit off the King and His Court. Former Major League catcher John Bateman was Feiner's catcher. His son was the outfielder, and I forget who the first baseman was, but they handily beat the other team, and they were so much fun to watch. If you haven't seen Feiner, look him up on YouTube videos. He used to do things where he'd fake out the batter. It looked like he was throwing the pitch, but he wasn't. He is famous for having struck out 7 All-Stars in a row in a little kind of primo to a All-Star game one year. It was really fun to watch. So that's something I'll always remember. I have no idea what happened in the actual game, but the King and His Court, a lot of fun. All right, hey, Chuck, what do you got for us?
Well, once again, I misunderstood the topic. I thought it.
Hey,
it
Terry
was,
Lee.
I thought it was a favorite story from Major League or from a minor league ballpark. So I'll just continue on with that story.
That's good enough.
So my story has to do with the first time I ever played ball with these yahoos. 2006 or 2007, I was coaching with JC here at Elk Grove Babe Ruth, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come out?" It was the tournament you guys were having at Rayleigh Field, Sacramento. And why don't you come out and watch and see if you want to play? So after practice, I run out there, and they're an inning or two into the game, and I think it was either you or it was Captain Steve pops up out of the dugout and looks back at me and goes, "Hey, you want to play?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll play." So I run down there. I had some gear with me, but Rob gave me one of his spare jerseys, and so I go up and I hit, and I haven't played ball in a long time. I've been coaching it at that point, but I hadn't played in a while. And so I hit one into right center and kind of got up to first base. And I can't remember exactly who was playing first base, but it might have been, oh, shoot. I can't think of it. Who's that guy that laughed all the time, the big guy?
Dave Monolato.
Monolato, yeah, it might have been Monolato. Yeah, so I'm standing there at first base, and he looks at me and he goes, "Who are you, Rob Weber's well-fed brother?" So that was what got me started, and I thought that was funnier than hell, and these guys are going to be fun. So I tried not to miss a tournament after that. So that's my story. Minor league ballpark, Rayleigh Field.
Excellent story. All right, who's up?
I'll go. Mr. Weber is always accusing me of telling stories before the year of the Great Flood or from the Babe Ruth era and that sort of thing. So I'll only go back to about 1992. I was on my way to Cooperstown to play in a tournament, and flew into Albany, New York, and the Albany Colony Yankees were playing there. In fact, I went to a game in '92. By '95, they were gone. But Heritage Park, the mascot was called Grounder, and it was a dachshund who's standing on his hind legs with a hat on, a large baseball cap, and from the name and the look, he probably qualified for one of the worst baseball mascots of all time. At the time, I thought it was some of the worst baseball I'd ever seen. But then I went and played at Cooperstown with the boys and realized that our brand of baseball is probably the worst baseball I'd ever seen. Shortly after they moved the team to Norwich, Connecticut, and an independent ball team called the Diamond Dogs took over until 2002, and then they tore the stadium down in 2009. I thought they were in the process of tearing it down when I was there. It was pretty bad, but it was a fun experience to go to a ballpark on the East Coast where I'd never been, and one of my favorite experiences.
Excellent.
Did they have potholes down the first and third baselines?
Kind of like Zender.
Yeah. You're right.
All right. Hey, Brent, tell us a good story of minor league baseball.
Okay. Well, back in 2018, JC and I went to fantasy camp, and we met this ex-pitcher for many teams, Steve Klein. And Steve Klein saw that we were from Sacramento and Elk Grove area. He came up and told us after the meet and greet that he was the pitching coach for the Sacramento River Cats. So he said he wanted to get together with us sometime, gave me a number, and he says, "Call me, we'll get you tickets." So he said, "Call me anytime." So we did. And we went to several games with Steve. He is a character. But one of the days we were down there before the game, we were meeting him, and he says he knew we were coaching baseball. And he says, "Hey, have you got a couple of kids that you can bring down here and shag fly balls for our batting practice? You think they'd like that?" Well, he said, "Oh, yeah, they would. We got just the two picked out." And there were two young men that were on our team. They're minors, so we'll call them Moose and Riddler, because that was the nicknames on our baseball team. And we asked them. They said, "Oh yeah, we want to do that." So it was way before the game. Get down there about 3:30 or so for a 7 o'clock game, and they're out there batting practice, and all the pitchers and everything are out in the outfield. And so we finally figured out how to get into the stadium and around the security guards and said the magic words. We have 2 unaccompanied minors that got invited to shag balls by Steve Klein. And he says, "Come on down this way." And he opened up the outfield fence and let them out. So we stayed there and let the kids go on the field. I got some pictures in as they practiced. And our kids were making some good plays out there. They were turning some heads. I remember Moose caught one and ran into the wall in left field and went thump, and everybody turned around and looked at who was that? Who would do that? But it was a real good time for them, and it was kind of winding down, and they were standing there, and Derek Law came up to them, and they were standing there talking with Derek Law and Gregor Blanco. Just 4 of them in the outfield waiting for something to come their way. And he says, "Hey, what size shoe do you guys wear?" And he says, "Well, I'm a 10 and I'm a 9.5. He says, "You guys hang on a minute." He says, "I'll be right back." So he goes out that little gate there and goes into their locker room. He comes back with 2 boxes of shoes, brand new pairs of baseball cleats, brand new. And they were the fancy ones too. These kids just lit up. And they were having a good time. I got pictures of them getting the smiles on their faces when they got those. Talking to Gregor Blanco, and then I don't remember who came by and says, "Hey, you guys want some batting gloves?" He went and got 2 pairs each for them and handed it to them. It's a day that they'll never forget. That was my favorite time at the ballpark. Those kids got they're fans for life now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool.
Nice.
All right. Hey, let's do another round.
Okay.
And then we'll get Robbie in here to tell a story or two as well. As I was growing up, my parents took the family on a trip to Hawaii. And my dad asked what I would like to do. And of course I said, "I want to see a baseball game." And he kind of looked at me like, "Really? Is that what you want to do in Hawaii?" And I said, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go see a baseball game. So my dad looked around and found that the Hawaii Islanders,
Oh wow.
Part of the Pacific Coast League.
Formerly the
Yeah.
Sacramento Solons.
they were the
Correct.
Really?
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
Pacific Coast League,
Nice.
and I believe they were affiliated with the Padres at the time. So AAA baseball, we're seeing a game with a whole bunch of major leaguers. Now, if you don't know much about the stadium they played in, it was an all-purpose field that was a host for baseball, football, soccer, all kinds of things, AstroTurf, and for baseball, they had a fence that came in on a track across the field. However, they didn't design this. They didn't have a lot of thought in the design because they get a lot of rain in Hawaii, and the track would rust from time to time, and sometimes the fence wouldn't work. And on this day, they got the fence halfway, it got it all the way to center field, and it stuck. So at a certain point, they said, "Well, we can still play the game. I mean, if somebody were to hit it past the track, maybe they got a chance at an inside the park home run." So we watched a game with half of an outfield fence. It had probably a dozen future major leaguers in the game, and there was about 5,000 fans. So the people in Hawaii near Honolulu, they were very interested in baseball, and that's what they chose to do at night. And my dad said, "Hey, not a bad idea."
Yeah.
So you guys, when you made fun of me, you're wrong. Baseball is always right.
I'd rather go for shave ice.
All right. Hey, Chuck, give us another story.
Ooh.
You only brought one?
Well, yeah, kind of.
I can go.
Okay. Okay.
So, unique parks and terrible parks. I took that as kind of my topic for this. But Hughes Stadium in Sacramento, for 3 years hosted the Sacramento Solons, which is a AAA team. They put it on the football field in Hughes Stadium, and there was a track around that too, but they couldn't use the track they couldn't put the home plate on there, so they put it inside the grass part, and then left field was actually 233 feet from home plate, and it was kind of a flat outfield. It didn't go out much. They had a 40-foot screen there, so pop up to shortstop. Oh, it's gone. Home run. It was in walking distance from my family homes. That's why I got to go there a couple times. But Fenway Park, by comparison, the left field corner is 310 feet. And Green Monster is 37 foot tall. In left center, where the Green Monster still is, it's 390 out there, and the Green Monster is still 37 feet there. So it's considerably harder than Hughes Stadium to hit a ball out. But it was a fun game to go to because there's a lot of offense, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hughes Stadium for the Sacramento Solons.
Hey, you said that left field was 233 feet?
Yes.
Okay, I played Little League at Civarella Field, and it was 200 feet. So
Yeah.
Another 10 yards and a little bit.
Wow.
You were 33 feet away from being a minor league.
Oh, yes, at the time, yeah. And I did hit one out there.
All right. So while Chuck is trying to devise another story,
Yeah, I've got a short
you got one, Brent?
I do. It involves that same Rumble at Raleigh at Raleigh Field in Sacramento. It was AAA for the A's at that time, and you had put on a tournament, and we were playing in the dugout, and we were out in the field with 3-day tournament. We had our banquet right there on the arcade inside next to this concession stands. It was a great tournament. But I have an official ground rule double at Raleigh Field.
All right.
Yes.
Wow.
I came up to bat, and I think there was 2 men on, and I hit a shot out into the left center field gap, and it hit about halfway down into the gap, and it rolled, and the groundskeeper had left the outfield door open where you could go in and out, and it rolled right through those doors, and I couldn't go to third because it was officially a ground rule double. It wasn't one of the bounce over the fence kind.
Yep.
It was a roll
If
right
you
off
were a
the tee.
horse, they'd shoot you.
That was fun.
All right, Chuck, what do you got?
All right, I got a little short story, but when I was a kid growing up in Modesto, my dad would take me and my brothers to go see the Modesto A's at John Thurman Field in Modesto. It's the same team that's the Modesto Nuts who are going to be playing out here today. But the main thing I remember from watching those games was I learned how to heckle an umpire. And there was this old dude that was there every single time we went, and he sat like up at the top of the stands, and he would just yell stuff at the umpire, like, "Oh, you had the, brains of a bird, you'd fly backwards," that kind of thing. And one time he said, "Get off your knees, ump, you're blowing the game." And I had to ask my dad what the hell that meant. I didn't. I had no idea.
What did your
he
dad say?
I can't say.
Dad told the truth.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
Nice.
yeah, but we learned a lot of stuff like that from that old dude that sat up atop the stands at John Thurman Field.
I bet you did.
An
So,
old dude telling a young kid about an umpire blowing something. How could that ever go wrong in the history of pedophilia?
Hey.
it was the 70s,
Hey,
Yeah,
it's
early
baseball. It's
70s.
supposed to be good, clean family fun, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
What a great life teacher.
yeah. So there you go.
All right. Hey, we're through a couple of sets of stories, and we want to take a break here and talk about our sponsor. The guy who does this best is Mr. Landerman, so I'm going to have him come in give the Almanac beer pitch. We are all drinking our Almanac beers tonight. But before we tell you what, Rob's going to tell you about Almanac.
My favorite part of the show, the segment we like to call "What You Drinking."
Yeah.
And what are we like almost 90 episodes?
86.
86. That's how you get kicked out of a bar. So that number I don't care for so much. But Almanac has been with us for every one of these damn episodes. Either they're ignorant or blind or something, but they continue to sponsor us and give us beer. And we continue to drink it because I'll tell you what, Almanac is one of the great beer producers in the entire country. They are amazing. They started as a producer of sours, which Rob Weber can go into great detail for you if you need it. But otherwise, they have branched out and they have IPAs, doubles, triples. They do some barrel-aged beers, stouts, porters. And then we all have our little personal favorites that we're drinking. They have a lager series, and I think we have 2 beers from the lager series here tonight. I am drinking the current Buenos Vibras Mexican-style lager, which is just absolutely delicious, and I'm stealing from another beer brand, but I always like to say it's the one beer to have when you're having more than one. So what are you guys drinking?
I got the other beer from the lager series. It's a Porch Light lager, and it's nice, crisp, refreshing, easy to drink. I love this beer. It's very good. Porch Light lager.
This one's a slammer, and that one's a sipper.
So I'm going back to the original tried and true Almanac True Cold.
Oh no, he's gonna die.
We're getting out.
Yeah. So
Quick, get his beer.
Don't spill it.
this is the one I was first introduced to, and I introduced Marty to it, and Jonesy, and on the golf course. It is great, and you can have more than one.
I'm drinking the Seaside West Coast IPA. It's deep, it's relaxed, and my favorite, it's vast. whatever that means.
Whatever
We're
the hell
all
that
pretty
means.
fast.
All right. And I sit down, Rob.
Hi, state your name.
I am also drinking the Kolsch. This is JC's backup beer, and I'm drinking it.
There you go.
All right. Robbie, tell us a story.
All right. Well, first off, thanks to Almanac. If you're in the Alameda area, you're visiting the Bay Area. If you're not visiting the Bay Area, you should at least make a trip out to Almanac. Just, if nothing else, come out here for Almanac Brewing. They are amazing. And like we always like to say, tell them at the brewery, you heard about them from the Highlights from Lowlife show, they may take pity upon you. All
And
right.
the view from the Almanac Brewery back towards the city is a great view.
Spectacular.
Yes,
Yeah.
very nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I'll tell my story. We had friends when I was growing up that moved out to Des Moines, Iowa. Who does that? Why?
On purpose? That's my question.
Intentionally.
Yeah.
He must have been a manure farmer or something. We went back to visit them in the 70s. I think I was 12 or 13 years old. So we took a road trip back to. I mean, literally, this is our bad. First, they moved there. Then we decided to road trip back there to visit them. So I don't know who's dumber, the people that moved there or the people that actually made the road trip. But nonetheless, we got out there, and look, Des Moines is exactly like it sounds. There's not a lot to do. But they had a couple of kids, and they were a little bit older. And I was insisting on, let's go to a ball game. Let's go to the ball game. They have the Iowa Oaks. And I had looked it up, and they were playing the Evansville Triplets that night. So, yeah, I talked them into it. We went out, and we got great seats down behind home plate. It was the first game I had ever seen out of state. So it left a mark on me, and these guys are watching the Cubs and Dodgers. Anyway, I just got a stolen base. So anyway, yeah, we went out to the game, and it was a great game, actually. The Oaks weren't very good that season. They didn't have a whole lot of, talent, shall we say. But the game was really close, and it came down to the bottom of the ninth. The Oaks were up. Lee Richard, infamous outfielder for the White Sox, was able to lay down a bunt single, and Joe List came up next. And Joe List was sort of a power hitter for the White Sox at the time, but he laid down a bunt and moved B.B. Richard over to second. And then Mike Squires the inimitable Mike Squires came up and drove a ball into right field. And the outfield was kind of in shallow, so it was close play at home. But B.B. Richards slid in safe at home, and it was a spectacular game. Ken Kravik, maybe Weber's probably the only guy in the room that knows that name, but Ken,
White Sox.
yeah, Ken Kravik pitched a great game that night for the Des Moines or for the Iowa Oaks, and the Oaks won 4-3 in the bottom of the ninth inning. It was spectacular, and they went on using that momentum. They went on to a 12-game losing streak. So but that was back in the old American Association. It was a big deal for me as a 12-year-old to go to a game in out of state somewhere else.
awesome.
So it was a fun time.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Good
Yeah.
job.
Now I'll step out and be in the background, and I'll be that guy in the back of the classroom shouting out stuff that doesn't matter.
All right, we'll do another round of stories here. So, for those of you who haven't been to minor league ball games before, one of the things that you see from time to time is a player from the major leagues who's on a rehab assignment and is getting back into playing shape by playing some minor league games. And being close to San Jose, a lot of times the San Francisco Giants would send their players to begin their rehab in San Jose. So on any given night, you might see a famous major leaguer playing a few games in a minor league uniform. I remember through the years, just by chance, I've seen Buster Posey play a minor league game, Brandon Crawford, Madison Bumgarner, and any number of Giants have filtered through the San Jose Muni to just get in shape and get that next call up to the big leagues. It's not something you can necessarily plan for unless you're part of the Giants front office, but it's quite the thrill when you get to see one of these guys in action. What normally happens when these multimillionaires spend a little bit of time with the guys making $20,000 a year is they will buy a massive lunch or dinner for these guys. They'll either have it catered or they'll all go out to the restaurant. And that's quite the thrill for these guys to have the big leaguer come in here and foot the bill for a $5,000 dinner for the entire team. And it's their way of saying thanks for letting me hang with you guys and be a part of your team for a day or two. So, fun to watch. All right, who's got one?
Just to add on to that, you mentioned Thrill, and I'm one of the few people that actually got to see Will the Thrill play with the Fresno Grizzlies versus the Stockton Ports at Billy Hebert Field, which you can see in the picture behind us. That was outstanding. So, yeah, there you go. That's my second story, and I'm done now.
Oh, good.
I can add on to that too.
All right, good.
One time, Kleiner got us these tickets to the River Cats game, and JC and I went. I think Chuck was there too, but we got to see Madison Bumgarner on a rehab assignment.
Yeah.
And he was doing really well. He was dealing, and we were wondering whether he was going to go back out for the sixth inning or so because he was just doing so great, and he was looking like he had a good time. He was nice and smooth, and his pitch count was down. And we watched him walk back to the dugout and talk to the Aaron, the coach, and he would kind of shake his head a little bit, and then he turned around and got out of our view, and then he came back into view, and then Bumgarner sat down. Well, we met Klein at the local beer and hamburger place down the street in West Sacramento after the game when he was done, and he brought the manager and the
Catcher.
the catcher. Yeah, Ronnie. What was his name?
He was a bullpen catcher, I think.
Well, he was
No,
catching
he was
Bumgarner.
catching
that night.
Bumgarner.
Oh, he
that
was?
time.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Ronnie something. And we sat down there and told stories and talked a bunch. And we asked, what did Bumgarner say when he came in after the sixth? He says he wanted to go more. And I got orders from up top that you cannot do that. And he was leading. And I said, no, I'll make a call, but they won't let you do it. And sure enough, they didn't want him pitching any more than that amount of time in that game. But that was fun. That was fun.
Mhm.
All right. Right. You guys got another one?
I've got one right about here,
All right.
right about Banner Island, and we came down here 10, 15 years ago, and
Survivor Banner Island.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and we played in this field. We had a gas. We also got to play at Billy Hebert's field.
Yes.
And it was just a blast to be able to play here.
Yeah.
And we got introduced to this Silver Slugger program here, and our friend Cactus Billy.
Explain to everybody what the Silver Slugger is.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to the Stockton Ports tonight.
We
huh?
should.
Yeah,
We should.
absolutely. So 55 and over is what it's supposed to be, and you get these lovely T-shirts. You get 10 or 11 games for 25. It used to be $25. Now it's $30.
Oh no.
Oh, so
breaking my
we're getting $3 or a little less than $3 a game, and it's only on Wednesdays, and it is just such a blast. We enjoy it as a bunch of old guys, and we've probably got the biggest group here of Silver Sluggers, led by Cactus Billy Bernier, and it's just a reunion every Wednesday. So that's my story. There's a couple of stories that add on to that, and maybe one of you guys want to tell it, what we do to the umpires and so forth. But Silver Slugger program, wonderful.
We try
Yeah.
to get them to smile
Right.
Yeah.
and get a reaction out of it.
I'm going to jump in and
Wave
just
at
add
'em.
on to that for what JC said. I went to college here in Stockton, so I went to a bunch of port games at Billy Hebert Field.
Yes.
So being able to play there and then being able to play here at Banner Island, which is a gorgeous field, and if you haven't been here, you need to get out here and see a ball game.
Yeah.
But being able to play those two places was really special for me, just as I have a certain affinity for Stockton, which there's no explanation for that either. Probably why I went to Des Moines at one point. But anyway, sorry to step in.
All right,
Yeah.
that's great. And thank you, Ports, for letting us do the show from out here.
Ports are
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you very much.
All
Really
right, Chuck,
appreciate it.
Chuck, you got one?
Well, my favorite memory at this ballpark was when Heath Keller hit one out and hit that building out there in left field.
Oh,
So
yeah, the arena.
he really got a hold of that one.
The arena, yeah.
Yeah,
The
it
arena is
hit
just,
off the wall, and yeah,
just past the left field foul pole starts the
Yeah.
arena where they have hockey and
quite a
basketball.
shot. I remember
lots of other events.
the first base dugout. It has like a handicap elevator that goes from field level up to the stands. And the one thing I remembered, I don't know why this sticks in my head, but the control box was just all smashed in. And we played here, what, 3 or 4 times?
We
3
did.
or 4 years?
Yes, absolutely.
Every year we came back and it's still
Still
smashed in.
smashed.
I
Nobody
don't know
needed
if they ever fixed it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I
ADA
remember that.
requirement.
Yeah. So anyway,
Well, to Chuck's stories, we would rent this facility and invite other fantasy camps to play with us at the facility over a 3-day weekend. Every team would have 1 game a day against a different opponent, the standard format for our tournaments. And I was able to rent the facility for 3 days. They were great hosts. The fans for our event are friends and family. So the crowds can be upwards of 100 people watching us play these games. But they're such a blast and such a good time, and it's a great way to see people 3 or 4 times a year in different venues for baseball.
mm-hmm.
Now,
Upward.
going back to something that JC mentioned, here at the Ports game, we as a group, our Silver Sluggers group, which is around 20 guys, we will sit behind home plate. And one of the things we do is a bit of a heckle to the home plate umpire. When there's a pitching change or a lineup change of some kind, it's incumbent upon the umpire to turn around, walk back towards the official scorer, which is up over our head, and signal that a change is being made to the lineup. they usually wave their hand like this. We all stand up at the same time and wave our hands.
Well, howdy.
And the whole idea is to get that umpire to acknowledge us. Some of them ignore us for 5 or 6 innings, but eventually somebody will break into a
They
smile
crack. They
and
crack.
acknowledge, yes, okay, I see you guys. So we have a lot of fun here. JC's right. It's a few dollars for a season ticket. Once you get inside, you've got normal beer and food prices, but that's okay. We can handle that. So if you're in town, definitely go catch a Stockton Ports game.
Yeah.
All right? You guys got any other stories?
I've got a drip story from right here.
Right.
Can you tell that?
Explain who Drip is.
Yes. Tell us
Okay.
who Drip is.
Tommy McCampbell, unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but Tommy McCampbell we have a whole other show to tell you how Tommy got his nickname. But we were playing here. We were in the third base dugout.
It has nothing to do with VD, if that's what you're
No,
thinking.
no. There was water dripping off his middle finger.
Yeah.
And we were
Not
in the third
his,
base
somebody
dugout.
else's.
He went out to the parking lot. I'll be right back. Hang on a minute. And we were up to bat, so we stayed up for a little while. Luckily, he got back here, and then in between innings, while people were going back, he brought back a little satchel, a little zippered bag, and he pulls this out, and it's a bunch of surgical tubing and a leather thing in between. And he says, "You hold this up," and he got somebody else. "You hold that up." He had a slingshot, and inside that bag was a whole bunch of water balloons. So from the third base dugout to the first base dugout, we were lobbing
Launching.
water balloons back and forth between innings. And it was like 102 here in Stockton that day. So it was hot. And we were trying to zoom in on certain people because we wanted to get them wet.
Yes.
And Gidget, I remember, we wanted to get him wet really, really bad.
Which also has
Why?
nothing to do with VD.
But, we were
Thank you for
having
that.
fun at the ballpark, lobbing water balloons from one dugout to another and watch them scatter. They were fun.
Yeah, it was always good times at the tournament.
It was.
Oh yeah.
And like I was telling you earlier, we try to play at the nicest venues you can find, and in many cases, those are minor league baseball stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's college, sometimes it's high school, but for the most part, it's minor league baseball stadiums.
Yeah.
We have an annual tournament in Lodi at a stadium that was last used for minor league baseball, organized minor league baseball in the 70s, but the stadium's still there, and we still enjoy playing there. So, all right, anything else, guys?
Tony Zupo Field.
Talk about Mike Up.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about Mic'd Up. You are watching us on Mic'd Up. If you would like to leave a question or comment during these shows, you just hit the microphone at the bottom of the screen, and you've got 30 seconds to leave us a question or comment. If we like what we hear, we'll play your voice over the air and respond to it. Again, you got 30 seconds. If it's not dirty or anything, maybe we'll play it. If Rob were in charge,
We're
we'll play
sorry.
everything.
Your call cannot be completed as dialed.
Huh?
Leave more than one if you'd like.
We are here every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Pacific. I think we've missed 2 or 3 weeks in the last 89 weeks. So we'll be doing an episode next week. We don't know what the topic will be, but we'll get that announced. Once you are signed up to use the app, which is available for free in the App Store, you can subscribe by following one of the hosts of this show. And every time a show is posted, you'll get a notification on your phone or your tablet, and you'll know when we're going to go live. If you don't have a chance to watch us live, you can watch all of the archived episodes right in the app or on our YouTube page, Highlights from Lowlifes. All right? Anything else, guys?
That's about it for me.
Think
All
we got
right. Hey, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me tonight.
Yeah, and we'll see you next Wednesday night.
Also, nothing to do with BD.
We'll see you next Wednesday night. Thanks again. Robbie, play us out.
Highlights from Lowlifes.
How awkward it is.
Oh, it's totally out there.
No, I'm picking Rob's nose, so I'm entertained.
See you next week.